Shannon Waller here, and welcome to the Team Success Podcast. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the importance of having a sense of urgency. I hear this a lot from entrepreneurs that they're feeling urgent about things. They want to make things happen. Sometimes they get frustrated because other people don't seem to have a sense of urgency. And I had a direct experience when I was driving the other day where someone who I thought clearly did not have a sufficient sense of urgency because he was not going nearly as fast as I wanted him to go as I was driving. Yes, I was incredibly impatient. So I got to work and I'm talking this through. I'm thinking, okay, sense of urgency, great topic for the podcast. So then I sit down with my fabulous support partner, Nicole, and we start talking about it. And I'm thinking that sense of urgency is really, really important for successful entrepreneurial teamwork. And her first comment is, she says, I hate a sense of urgency. I was like, oh, why? And she made a really interesting comment. She says, well, really, especially if it gets to the point of like panic or really that it's stressful, sense of urgency is stressful. She says, I schedule and I plan to avoid a sense of urgency. I thought, oh, I need to rethink this a little bit because I love how she does what she does. And she amazingly just makes tons of things happen. And it's true, because of her scheduling and her planning ability, her nickname is Scheduling Ninja, she just makes things happen in a way that's not stressful, but it gets an enormous amount done far faster than I was able to do it before without her. So that was kind of intriguing to me. So we kept talking about it and kept working it out. So this is what we've come up with. And I wanted to share this with you because I think it's actually fairly profound. And the reason why I think it's important is because a lot of our clients at Strategic Coach, like me, have an intense sense of urgency. We are drivers on disc profiles. We are dominants. We are influencers. We are all high-paced all the time. Not everybody, but a lot. On the Colby profiles, I'm a 9 in quick start, so that love to quickly start things. Yeah, my husband also calls himself a quick stop, which is true. Quick start and quick stop. He's a 10 quick start, so there you go. So there's a lot of natural factors in my personality that lead to that thinking that a sense of urgency is fabulous. And for me, it kind of is. Because a sense of urgency, a deadline, spurs on my creativity. I love it. When things speed up, I get more engaged. I'm more on. In fact, sometimes if I know there's a deadline, I actually kind of calm down. To some other people, it looks like I slow down. Mentally, I haven't. But I can just completely focus on that moment. No distractions. It's fabulous. I'm in the zone against a deadline. Other people, they start to panic and their brain shuts down. Not fun. So I'm in the zone and they're not functioning. This is not a pretty picture. So we all have a different relationship to deadlines. We have a different relationship to a sense of urgency. So the question came up in my mind anyway, where does this all come together? Well, it's kind of interesting because if you contrast this quick start and fast-paced people with the people who are much more even-paced on disc or a different Colby profile with much longer fact-finder follow-through, shorter quick start, then you really have to wonder, where does this come together, or can it? And we figured out that it does. Really, what I think is important are two factors. And we have 4 qualities that we talk about in terms of people who are part of a multiplying, entrepreneurial, exponentially growing company. And the 4 things are alert, curious, responsive, and resourceful. 4 great qualities of a team member and entrepreneur, which I completely concur with. The 2 that are really relevant for me in this conversation is alert and responsive. I think it's incredibly important for me to be very alert to both my team and how they're doing and responsive to them, as well as to the marketplace. So entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial teams, what's working for them, what's not, is what I'm saying useful? Could it be more so? I need to pay incredibly close attention to that. I do not have all the answers. I've not got everything figured out. And the more open I am to those things, the better I get. I have a lot of experience and a lot of things to bring to bear, a lot of lessons I've learned, but there's still far more that I can learn, ingest, figure out, and then share again. That to me is a very exciting and fun process. So it's very important for me to be alert and responsive. And the best teamwork I have is with other people who are also alert and responsive. And I realized that's where Nicole and I come together. She's incredibly alert and paying attention to what we have both agreed is important. And she's highly, highly responsive. Doesn't matter what either of our DISC profiles are, Colby profiles, because we both share those qualities and we both have those as values, we come together, and frankly, it works brilliantly. I've shared with strategic coach clients a fair bit that since starting to work with Nicole, it's been a couple of years now, I've doubled, if not tripled, my productivity. That's pretty cool. In a lot of ways, we're very, very different. We're contrasting on a lot of different measures, not intelligence or values, but in terms of personality and how we strive, we're very, very different. But again, where it comes together in great teamwork is being alert and being responsive. And I realize if I go back to my driver that I was so impatient with, it's because I didn't think he was paying attention. I didn't know if he was a distracted driver. I didn't know if it was illegal at that moment. But to me, he was not paying attention to traffic patterns. He wasn't paying attention to people who are behind us and perhaps trying to get out of an intersection and getting stuck. That drives me crazy. And then, even if he was alert, he wasn't responsive. He wasn't doing anything about it. You can tell. Good thing you're not him. Anyway, so even in a simple situation like driving, and it transfers into a lot of different parts of our lives, I definitely find that with team members. Team members that I run into that are not alert and not responsive, I have pretty much the same response. I don't get it. It's like, why are you here? And a really bottom line comes down to engagement. People who are engaged are alert. They're also curious. They want to know more. They're responsive. They do something about it. And they're resourceful. They're capable. Really engaged people are the ones that make sense to me. If you're not engaged in this, great. Go do something you are engaged in. That's logical. To stay with something that you can't be engaged, you're not alert, you're not paying attention, you're not responsive. Why? Life's too short, if I want to boil it down to that. So it was kind of fun to walk through this process of me starting with the point that I thought the sense of urgency was automatically good for everybody. That's just part of being an entrepreneurial company. And the truth is, it's not. What is most important is to be fully engaged and caring. And you've got your head involved. You've got your heart involved, your guts involved. Every single part of you comes to the party. At that point, then you are alert automatically. You are responsive. You are paying attention. You are taking action. So even though we have very different responses to a sense of urgency, some of us find it creative. Some of us find it disheartening. For some people, it makes them panic. By the way, the opposite scale for that, if someone has no sense of urgency, I came up with lethargy and lackadaisical. So that doesn't really work either, nor does actually a sense of panic. So where can we all come together? With engagement and being alert and being responsive. So that's really my message for you today. Short and sweet. But again, for all of us to come together to make things happen quickly, to be in motion, to be in action, to learn from our experience, to do things better next time, it really comes down to being alert, being responsive, which you automatically will be if you're fully engaged. Thanks very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear them at questions@strategiccoach.com. And as always, here's to your team's success. Hi, Shannon here, and thank you very much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please take a moment to rate the Team Success podcast on iTunes. And we'd love it if you'd share the podcast with anyone else who could benefit. If you're interested in learning more about the Strategic Coach program for entrepreneurs, visit us at strategiccoach.com or the Strategic Coach channel on YouTube. For free downloads and more team success strategies, visit teamsuccesshandbook.com.